Hi, everybody. It's me, Carol, from Healthcare Potholes with Christian Faith. Um, Boy, this has been really crazy times that we're in. Thinking about the earthquake over in Turkey and Syria. Then we had a spy balloon that went over our airway, and then we had our three others that were shot down. One right basically up in my backyard in Port Huron area of Lake Huron. Is sort of between Mackinac Island and Port Huron, but it was in Lake Huron, which isn't too far, and I just don't know what it was. Unidentified objects. Then we've had a lot of train derailments in the last week, and one with real toxic stuff that's driven people from their homes and killed a lot of animals and fish and frogs and different things like that from the toxins. And so those people have been uprooted down between the Ohio and Pennsylvania border. Used to go through there a lot as a kid to see my aunt and uncle and young adult, and when they were living down in the Pittsburgh Monroeville area. My mom was from Turtle Creek down there, so we knew it well. And then her dad had been transferred up to Buffalo, and that's where she met my dad and got married. So my dad grew up and born in Jamestown, and grandparents owned a waffle kitchen in Lake Chautauqua with Aunt Lena, and then he grew up in Genesee, Wellsville area. So it was, he had a cousin that was a dentist in Wellsville. We used to go down there every summer to get our teeth cleaned and taken care of and everything. So it was quite a happy childhood time, I should say. And then, but not for what's going on now with the train derailment. And then we had a shooting last night at Michigan State, where I quite often take my dogs for medical care when they need it, and the local vets can't do things. They'll recommend going to Michigan State, which has a big veterinarian school up there. And so I'm definitely keeping the people up there in my prayers and thoughts, knowing that some of them were professors and taught, and just a 43-year-old goes in and shoots up a campus for what? We don't know. We'll never know, probably. I was hearing that on TV, and then I heard a professor got in the way of with students to protect his students from the gunmen coming in because they didn't have locks on the doors. Simple things that they could have maybe done ahead of time to prevent things like this happening. So 3 people are dead and 5 are critically wounded and fighting for their lives at the local hospital up there. And so we want to keep everybody in our thoughts and prayers that they recover. And I know emotional scarring on the students will be heavy for quite a while, maybe a lifetime. Sometimes you never get over things like that. And so, it's a senseless tragedy to students that just wanted to get their degree and get out and be working and have a job and support a family and all that. And it's just very, very heavy-hearted today. So I've been reading my Jesus Calling book the last few days and trying to catch up on my days of devotion. And since today is Valentine's Day, and it's a very heavy-hearted Valentine's Day, I thought, well, let me see what God says about February 14th and February 13th. I found it interesting in Sarah Young Jesus Calling book. On February 13th and 14th, I'm going to be reading. As we know, Jesus died on the cross, and I never put it into content, as he puts it so elegantly, into content. And I thought, boy, this really hits home after what happened up at Michigan State in Lansing. And of course, I was glued to the TV last night. I was going to do a video clip last night, and then I didn't, because I have family up in Lansing, so I wanted to know what was going on. No, I didn't have any students on campus, but I have high school classmates and different ones like that that have kids that are going to school up there or have gone to school up there, and so it's close to home. And as I said, I take my dogs up there for medical care. So, okay, on February 13th, in Sarah Young's book, Jesus Calling, peace be with you. And don't we all need peace with what's going on in this country right now, with the earthquakes over in Syria and Turkey, and these, I don't know, unidentified objects that were shot down in the Yukon and Alaska, and now in Port Huron. I want to call it Port Huron, but Lake Michigan area, crossed over Lake Michigan to Lake Huron, and then it was shot down over Lake Huron. And that's still close to home. I mean, I said to someone, I says, that's like right up in the Lansing area. That's ridiculous to have it that close to us down here in Detroit. I mean, I don't know what they're trying to find, but we don't certainly have anything. So anyhow, someone says, well, it could be a weather balloon. I says, well, are they looking for a place to vacation? Because it's just ridiculous to send weather balloon to look for a place to vacation. Right now it's too cold to go on vacation here in Michigan. So anyhow, February 13th and 14th, I'm going to be reading out of her book, and she talks about John 20:19-21 and John 14:27. So she's using the whole verse of 21, which I thought was interesting. It says, peace be with you. And it is so true. We need a lot of peace. And he is the Prince of Peace. Jesus is called the Prince of Peace. Ever since the resurrection, this has been my watchword to those who yearn for me. As you sit quietly, let my peace settle over you and enfold you into my loving presence. To provide this radiant peace for you, I died a criminal death. Receive my peace abundantly and thankfully. It is a rare treasure, dazzling in delicate beauty, yet strong enough to withstand all onslaughts. Wear my peace with regal dignity. It will keep your heart and mind close to mine. When he died on the cross, it was a terrible death. Just terrible. I just, my heart just aches for what he went through. I just can't. Oh, yeah. And as he says, I died a criminal death, and it was a criminal death. And if you think about all the people that have been murdered or shot, and like this campus thing at Michigan State, that is a criminal death. No way around it. It is a criminal death. And I had just heard yesterday that the lady who owned a cupcake shop that was on TV not too long ago was robbed, and she went after her purse that had her money in from the day, and she was dragged down the street and died. The family doesn't want to persecute those that did that. Well, that was quick to get to forgiveness, but maybe they have. Maybe they've, you know. But sometimes I think people need to go to jail that have done crimes. And we can pray for them to forgive um, what they've done, but we don't have to forget. Okay, on February 14th, give yourself fully to the adventure of today. Walk boldly along the path of life, relying on your ever present companion. And that companion would be Jesus Christ and God and the Holy Spirit, the Trinity in one. You have every reason to be confident because my presence accompanies you all the day of your life and onward into eternity. So he's telling you he's going to be there all the time. Do not give in to fear or worry. Right now, we have a lot of fear in our country. We have a lot of worry in our country, rightly so. Those robbers of abundant living, and there are people that are stealing from people. Trust me enough to face problems as they come rather than trying to anticipate them. Fix your eyes on me, the author and perfecter of your faith. The many difficulties on the road ahead will vanish before you reach them. Whenever you start to feel afraid, whenever you start to feel afraid, remember that I am holding you by your right hand. Nothing can separate you from my presence. I love the fact that he's holding my right hand and he's there with me, seeing us through all this mayhem in this country. And I like the fact that he says, do not give in to your fear or worry. And boy, do we have a lot of that right now. Those robbers of abundant living. He's saying that people are going to come and steal from you. It's just going to happen. And he's there to see you through. He's holding your right hand to get you through this time. And I thought, what perfect two passages during this time when something at Michigan State has happened that we can turn it over to God and know that God is there. God will provide them comfort. And I keep going back to, blessed are those that mourn, for they shall be comforted. And I remember saying that often when my mom was dying and my dad was dying and my brother had died, and trying to get through that. And that was a very comforting verse for me during that time. Now, I don't know whether my nephews thought about that or not, but I go to the Beatitudes quite often, and I use the Ten Commandments and stuff like that. But I thought it was just really, really a good comforting to know that he's there, that he will provide us comfort during tragedy. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that during the time. And I want to just let people know that we as a country are praying for you that are going through being, homeless from the chemicals from the train crash down there, and that we hope that they can get everything cleaned up. But it takes a while to do all that. Don't be too hasty in going back. Stay on top going to your doctor for a while to make sure everything is okay. And I just read the other day about Camp Lejeune. Now, that's down in the Carolinas. And they say if you're within 500 miles, you still qualify for the Camp Lejeune thing. I don't know if that's true or not. You'd have to check it out. But they had a toxic thing that happened too that really caused a lot of problems with people through the years. So I'm just keeping everybody in my prayers during this time. It's all we can do is stay focused on um, praying for people that we don't know, strangers. Keep them in our prayers. Pray that these flying objects, whatever they may be, are going to come to light on what they are, and that we can come up with a positive solution, not a negative one. I keep thinking about what Nicodemus said, and that he said that we're going to be in World War III this year, and Antichrist is coming back. I'm like going, this is not good. So we have to all start believing in God, trusting in God, keeping God first and foremost in our life. And when you go to make decisions, there was a bracelet I used to have, but then it got rough and I had to take it off. It was, what would Jesus do? And I keep that in the forefront of everything that I do. And I get annoyed sometimes. And when I say this, I get annoyed at, I called my phone company the other day, and I came unglued with the guy because down there they're charging me more taxes than I should be charged on my bill every month for 13 years. I think they owe me that back because they didn't change my address, even though they were mailing it to a different address. Nobody bothered to see that and change that, so they were ripping me off. And I get a little annoyed at that, just like Jesus does. So I may change companies and I may end up getting an attorney to go after them for the difference, because that's a big difference. Canton is a much higher tax base than where I'm at in little tiny Belleville. So it's just like Plymouth has higher taxes than Northville. And yet, they want to charge me a higher tax rate on my phone bill, which is ridiculous. I mean, over time, over 13 years, that really totals up. So as I spent my weekend cleaning off some of my table, I got 2 containers of shreds. And I have one more here that's probably another container that I got to shred. And then I'll be moving to the other side of the table where my brother sits to shred. And I told him, I said, we're getting this table cleaned up this week. I said, I'm not putting up with it anymore. I'm done looking at this pile of papers. And so yesterday we worked on trying to qualify for housing credit. And it takes 4 to 6 weeks, and also for the electric credit. So we're just sitting back seeing what's going to happen, and I'm praying that good news comes. I'm still looking for a job in between, and a job I can do from home, second, third shift. And I would love to work from, 5 to midnight or 4 to midnight, something like that, so I could get, or till 1 in the morning. I don't have a problem going to 1 in the morning, so I can sleep from 1 to 6 and then head out to my medical appointments that I have. So, just trying to find solutions. I'm still looking at small homes and campers and RVs and vans and different things, and I'm not having too much success with my brother. So I don't know if we're going to part ways or what, but anyhow, keeping everybody in my prayers, keeping you in my thoughts, and just know that God is there for you. Lean on Him. That's what He's there for. Okay? Have a good one.